Hello and welcome to episode 64 of the Disney Park Princess podcast. I'm your co-host, Sarah.
I'm Heather.
I'm Charla.
And happy holidays, everybody. I'm all decked out for the holidays. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, I've got on my holiday light Nikki. Oh, yes, it's like a whole light show thing. I strobe, blinking. Yeah, it's a whole thing, but I'm going to turn them off because otherwise, I don't know, could like induce seizures in somebody or something like that. We don't want to do that. But anyway, so
I was just thinking it's a good thing Newton's asleep, but I don't think strobe lights affect him, but he does have seizures. He's I'll turn it so everybody can see. He's sleeping right there.
And is that Regina or Katie in the background?
Unclear at this point because her back is to me. I'm sure it's Katie because that's
okay.
But they look just alike except for their fronts, and their collars are different. They were different for us at first until we could tell them apart. But Regina has a white chest and Katie does not. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, I'm sure it's Katie though because that's.
All right. So this is episode 64, and it is our last podcast of 2019.
I mean, I'm sad, but I'm also excited because we get a little bit of a break for the holidays.
Yeah. We're taking a couple weeks off, and we will be back on January 8th. Will be our next new podcast. So, and we're taking time off completely. So there will be one more blog. I think Heather has a blog later this week.
I do. It's on my Disney resolutions, the things I have to make happen next year.
I know what one of them is.
I'm determined. But everybody else will just have to read.
That's right. You'll just have to check out our website at disneyparkprincess.com to find out. And then, like I said, we'll be back January 8th with the podcast and the beginning of January with new blogs. So, all right, let's get into it. Actually, first, no, let's not get into it just yet. I want to chat a little while longer. I'm going to take hard left.
We're being thrown a curveball here.
Yeah. I just want to know what you guys are doing for the holidays. Like, do you have any plans? Are you going to be traveling or seeing family, or what are you guys doing?
A little bit of both. For the first year in a couple years, we get to stay home on Christmas Day, and I'm so excited about that. We always wanted to and never got. It just doesn't always work out just based on family things. But we are seeing my mom's side of the family on Saturday, my dad's side of the family on Sunday, and my husband's family on Christmas Eve. And it's all local-ish though, so it's not like really travel. So so we're staying home on Christmas Day. So anybody who needs to come over and eat Chinese food with us on Christmas Day, we will be home.
Christmas Day in my area, that's what all my Jewish friends do.
I was going to say
that's kind of how it started. Was my husband's family is from New York, and there are and that's what they said that they all the Jewish families did on Christmas Day.
You go to the movies and you go to
and we go to the movies anyway a lot of times on Christmas Day, and like in the afternoon or something, and I don't want to have to cook. I would rather be with my family and watch them open gifts and stuff. And so we just usually, if we get to stay home on Christmas Day, we order Chinese food.
So. Nice. Okay. All right. How about you, Heather?
I'm doing nothing this year. I'm staying in LA, which is nice because I don't have to deal with all of the flights everywhere and all of that, but it's also a little sad. It's the only time of year that I don't like living out here because I miss snow and the big family celebrations. But so we're just going to be quiet, probably have some friends come over later on Christmas Day and just relax and watch movies and all of that, open presents.
You're not missing anything when it comes to the snow. It is a snow day here in Connecticut. My 15-year-old is out there somewhere and it is icing and snowing and generally miserable right now. So
I miss it. I love the snow and ice. I will come shovel your driveway. I love doing that. I miss the snow.
Fantastic.
Also, it was 33 degrees here when I woke up, so it's not like I'm living in a tropical paradise or anything. I'm getting the cold. Just
if it's going to be that cold, there should be snow. Like,
just saying.
Yeah.
It was. Well, we must be getting that Los Angeles weather because it was 70 degrees here yesterday.
Oh, jeez.
And then it stormed all night, so it's cooler today. But like last week was freezing cold here. This week is nice, so whatever. It's weird.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm headed to Charleston for Christmas. I will not be home on Christmas Day for the first time in a long time. Typically, we sort of insist on having Christmas Day in our own house. But with the airfare and everything, it was just a lot cheaper to go to my parents to fly down on Christmas Eve. And of course, I have a teenager now, and that like everything's so different. Like once upon a time, it would have been like, obviously you're going to wake up, in your own house on Christmas because that's where Santa knows where to find you, and now I have a teenager and he knows that Santa couldn't find him anywhere. So I was like, do you care if we're home for Christmas? He was like, no. It's like, okay.
Whatever. He's getting his presents anyway.
This is not Santa related per se, but magical per se. The Tooth Fairy can also find you anywhere, just in case anybody needs to know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Tooth Fairy used to find me at my grandparents' house because that Tooth Fairy left a lot more money than the one in my house. So that's the Tooth Fairy I went to.
Well, the Tooth Fairy found Nora in Japan and gave yen, of course, and on a cruise ship. Tooth Fairy found her on a cruise ship. So
gosh,
she's a blessed child. That child.
Yeah. Our Tooth Fairy has found Ryan in a variety of locations. I think in Walt Disney World a couple times, and they are very resourceful. Those Tooth Fairies.
Yes, they are.
Yes. All right, so that's what we're all doing for the holidays. So that's why we're taking time off. Some of us are going places, and others just need a break. So hopefully you guys that are listening or watching are getting a break as well, and getting to spend time with friends and family and get to do some really fun stuff, or just binge watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which I'm almost done with.
I'm done. 2 episodes left too.
I'm done.
5 minutes left of the finale. Don't.
No. Have I ever spoiled anything for you?
No, never. You would never spoil anything. All right, so let's get to the news. I'm breaking out my trusty notepad. All right, so first up, and this was possibly my favorite news of the week, just because it's so like, I don't know why it took them this long to do it, frankly, but they have finally added restrooms to the Flights of Passage queue.
I'm sad. I liked that you had to get a hall pass.
The thing is, people, you would think they would get a hall pass, but there were stories that there's a hallway down like backstage and people were going to the bathroom there. So yeah, this is needed that they put bathrooms in. And I hope there are signs that say like bathrooms straight ahead or bathrooms 5 minutes away or something like that.
Yeah, there should be like a fast pass for the restroom or something in the line, I had not heard that.
Yes. That was
story. Slightly darker spin on it.
Charlotte.
Trust Charlotte to know that's okay. All right. So good news. Yeah. There's now actual restrooms.
Do we know where they are?
I think they're about midway. They're inside the building itself. It looks like they're, from what I could see and what I remember, it looks like they are before the big blue Avatar guy.
That's what I would think.
Yeah. So
it's like,
now what happens if I have to pee and I go into the bathroom, but the line keeps moving and now my party's like all the way down there?
I don't know.
Your way through? I don't know. I mean,
so many questions.
Yeah.
Out now.
Well, I guess we better just plan a trip so that I can go ride Flights Passage.
If I'm honest, now I'm going to get a fast pass, so I don't want to wait in that line, but it's fine.
Right.
But if anybody listening has not ridden Flights of Passage, you can't get a fast pass. You have to wait in the regular line first.
Yeah.
For your first ride. That's the rule.
Yeah. Yeah, you should. All right. Other good news for me, the Muppets Great Moments in History is returning to the Magic Kingdom for 1 week and 1 week only for a limited time engagement, but it made me very happy because I'm hoping that means that maybe it'll return, at busy crowd times. Like maybe it's not gone forever. Maybe it's just...
They should come up with several different stories.
And
rotate the shows so you never know which show you're going to get.
And if you are there between Christmas and New Year's, please go see it. It's really cute, but also it'll show Disney that people like this sort of thing, and we want to see the live entertainment. And it's a really cute show. It's worth your time to go see it. Really cute.
All right, who wants to talk about Walt Disney World's newest resort?
Are we talking
I
about
will.
the Riviera Resort?
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't know. I've seen quite a few pictures. Anyway, Disney's Riviera Resort opened yesterday. And there was a big media event because every social media outlet was there.
My entire Facebook feed was just, yeah.
Yeah. So it looks absolutely beautiful. Somebody posted some of the artwork that looks just incredible. The views from the restaurant on top, the Topolino's, is absolutely gorgeous. So this is going to be a really nice resort. The Tower Studio rooms that we've talked about before a little bit.
Because we always think they're at Grand Estima.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they are very cool. It's a Murphy style bed coming down, so it gives you a lot of space in the room. And those are only sleep 2, which is kind of sad for that. But anyway,
Guys, let's keep in mind these Tower Studios, they're tiny. They're really, really small. They're
little
like
corner rooms.
They're legit studios. Like if you think of a studio apartment, like seriously, the bed's folding down out of the wall and then it almost touches the TV. So they're small. They're very small.
I think it's a great option for 2
I
people.
think they're cute. I mean, although I will say, I kind of want to stay in one just to experience it, like to see exactly what it's like. And, is it worth the price point? Because this is a deluxe resort, let's keep in mind. So, they're not cheap, the Tower Studios. So, I'm excited, but I like the idea of sort of the corner room. Like, I think that's kind of charming. So I don't know. We'll see.
But everything looks fantastic about it. So I'm excited that this is another option. It is on the Skyliner. It is a stop on the Skyliner if you're interested in that particular aspect of it. So it's a good spot.
Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised when I rode past it on the Skyliner. I really didn't know sort of what to expect. So I mean, it's very pretty, and the pool looked really, it looked like it might have a really great pool too. So I'm looking forward to getting to check it out a little bit more. It is unique to me as a deluxe resort because the location of it is more in keeping with moderate resorts than deluxe resorts. But with the Skyliner, it does have pretty direct access to not 1, but 2 theme parks. So
yeah,
we'll see. Okay. All right. So Rise of the Resistance. Oh my goodness, this ride. I can't wait to experience it, honestly, because the way people are talking about it,
I feel like this is how people talk about.
Ever.
That's what they said about Flights of Passage, and that's what they said about Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. It's just something new, so it's very exciting, and it's.
But to me, Flights of Passage really was like I love.
I love Flights of Passage,
yeah.
But I feel like everybody comes out whenever there's a new attraction, whatever it may be, and they're like, "Oh my god, best thing ever! We've never seen anything like this," and that may be true, but the reaction
that wasn't the reaction to Millennium Falcon, though. That was definitely not.
But they knew ahead of time that was.
Yeah.
Even Disney was like, "Just wait." Just wait. Better's coming.
It's funny that they opened the one that was not as revered first. Although, since I know nothing about Rise of the Resistance on purpose,
I've avoided.
I hope, like, I would more personally excited to be in the Millennium Falcon than some other type of ride. But now I'm super excited to see Rise of the Resistance. So
I'm sorry. I have my tickets to see the new movie on Saturday morning. So even though I'm not a big Star Wars fan, I'm excited just because it's the culmination of my husband's lifetime of Star Wars fandom. So
I want to know what all Star Wars fans are going to do when this is over, and they're like, no.
Well,
there's more.
You know that it's not going to be the last movie.
Yeah,
just maybe the last in this nonology. Is that a word? Nonology. I made that up, but it sounds right. We have tickets to see it on Friday. My friend Ben bought out an entire row of seats at the theater.
At the good theater.
Yeah, at the good theater.
All right.
And then so it should be pretty fun, at least. Even if the movie's terrible, it will be fun to go see it with a bunch of people.
Yeah. So what's happening at Rise of the Resistance is guests are arriving at about 4 a.m. to try to get boarding groups. So Disney is using, I think we talked about this a little last week, they're using a boarding group system where once you arrive at Hollywood Studios, you do have to be at, you don't have to be through the tickets. You just have to be, at the park. You can be at, going through security or whatever. There's like, RFID touch points that acknowledge that you're there. You can go into Magical Express. You go into My Disney Experience, wrong acronym. I went from DME to MDE in my head. You go into your My Disney Experience and you sign up for a boarding group. Now, even if you're arriving at 4 a.m., you might get a boarding group that is going to be much later in the day. But what they're doing now is if you can't get a boarding group because they are full, typically by about 7 a.m., they're gone. They're now doing backup boarding groups. So a backup boarding group is if all of the day's boarding groups have ridden and there is still park time left, like the park is still open and there's capacity, then they'll go to the backup boarding groups. However, you have to be there bright and early in the morning, and the backup boarding, if it gets called at all, wouldn't be until the evening. Now, you don't have to stay in the park that whole time. You can go somewhere else. But at least it gives you another potential shot at riding.
I think that these are basically only going to come into play if the ride does not break down for a significant amount of time.
Right.
Which
it has been.
Right.
It has been having, and that's typical. This is not, we're not complaining about that. That's to be expected.
Right.
With a new ride.
Yeah. So if they call, if they're able to get through, like, I don't know how many they have, like 1 through 60 in a fairly short order because it hasn't been breaking, then you're going to be much more likely to
might have a shot.
Yeah.
But I like that they're continuing to adapt and adjust and think about ways to get more people on the attraction. It's something. We'll take it,
Well, I like this because we've talked about my opinions on Fast Pass, and since there are no Fast Passes for this yet, at least there's something to get, and they're changing it, so I like the adaptability, like you were saying about it. Yeah.
Yep. And actually you wrote a blog post this week on things that Walt Disney World could improve on. If you want to see that, go to our website at DisneyParkPrincess.com. But it's a great post about, we love Disney. And I want to say that again and really clearly. We love Disney. We are big Disney fans. We have gotten some feedback that we are too anti-Disney. And we are not in any way, shape, or form anti-Disney. But I think what we are is Disney realists. We've all been doing this for a really long time. And, so it's not all sparkles and pixie dust. There are realities to Disney as a business. And, we acknowledge that, I think is what it is. So we're not
everything they do is perfect.
Not everything they do. Yeah.
We don't have to like everything they do.
Right.
We love most of it, but we don't have to. That's opinions.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So when we talk about things that, Disney Cruise Line could improve on, or like I wrote a blog recently on, common issues you might experience on your Disney Cruise Line. Disney doesn't guarantee perfection. Things happen. Rides break. Bad weather happen. There are, not every cast member is having the best day they've ever had in their entire lives. These are the realities of dealing with human beings and dealing with machinery and technology that doesn't always work. So I appreciate that Disney is trying that, they're always trying. And so, are the backup queues the perfect solution? Maybe not, but hey,
something.
It's something. Figuring it out. So
And that's one thing that makes Disney is that they do appreciate guest feedback. Now, just because I have a particular opinion on something doesn't mean they're going to change it, But they do appreciate guest feedback, and
but
they
if
know.
You and 50,000 of your closest friends.
But I also want to be clear that while I can easily say I wish that they would change this and this and this, I always, if there is a cast member that goes with exceptional service or even really good service that I really like, I always go to guest relations and fill out that card or send an email So I'm also very appreciative of what they do, and I let Disney know that. It's not that I go and complain. I rarely have gone to guest services to complain about anything. I just like to do it to my friends and my listeners.
On a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of things that Disney can't control, Big Top Souvenirs in the Magic Kingdom actually had a small fire this past week. So it wasn't a big fire. Nobody was injured. But there are some repairs required. So Big Top Souvenirs and Pete's Silly Sideshow are closed. And so the character meet and greets have been relocated, and you can find them in a couple different spots sort of around that area. And hopefully it will be reopened soon. But because that's it's a big space to not have open.
Yeah.
So.
Especially this time of year, next week,
Right.
You need every inch of that park.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That store is very big. It's like bigger than you think every time you walk in.
Mm-hmm.
There's
a
fudge,
lot of square footage. Yeah.
A lot of
The fudge is really good there.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, sorry, that's it for the news. And we're going to get into our topic, which is the conclusion of our resort series. This week, we're talking about our favorites, the Deluxe resorts. So stay tuned for that. I don't know how long you need for the theme song, but
I can cut it on the podcast itself.
That's okay. But now people that watch us on YouTube are laughing at us, and that's fine.
And I don't know how to cut something on YouTube, so this is what you get.
All right, so let's get into it. Our favorite of the categories, the Deluxe resorts, and we talked about doing Deluxe resorts and Deluxe villas, and decided that really to us it's kind of one category. So we're lumping the Deluxe and the Deluxe villa resorts into one podcast. Don't add us. All right. So for those who don't know, the Deluxe resorts consist of, and I wrote out this very long list. There's a million of them. Animal Kingdom Lodge, which has villas. Wilderness Lodge, which also has villas. Two villas. The Contemporary Resort, which has Bay Lake Tower villas. The Polynesian Resort, which has villas-ish. and bungalows. The Grand Floridian Resort, which also has villas. The Yacht Club, which does not. The Beach Club, which also has villas. Boardwalk Inn, which has villas. And then Saratoga Springs, Old Key West, and the new Disney's Riviera Resort, which are Deluxe villa only resorts.
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss any?
Probably. There's so many.
I do not believe that you did.
Okay, thank you. All right. So let's get into it. Let's start with sort of, because even I find within the Deluxe resorts, there's kind of subcategories, right, of Deluxe resorts, wouldn't you say? So let's start with what I call the entry level Deluxe resorts.
i.e. the lesser expensive.
Lesser expensive, but also they sleep less people, right? So we're talking about Animal Kingdom Lodge and Wilderness Lodge. Why don't you guys talk a little bit about what sets those two resorts apart from the rest of the Deluxe resorts?
I really, really love the Wilderness Lodge and the Animal Kingdom Lodge. So I don't want to say that they are lesser in terms of quality necessarily, but they do sleep less, and they are further away from the other theme parks. Animal Kingdom Villas is closest to Animal Kingdom, obviously, but you still have to take a bus to get there. So in Wilderness Lodge, in Wilderness Lodge, you have to take a boat to the Magic Kingdom or bus everywhere else. So while they are very, very nice, and they do follow most of the Deluxe amenities, they are a little bit further away from their hub park.
Yeah, and the rooms are a little bit smaller as well. So just in terms of square footage.
But they both have bunk bed rooms, which is unique. So you can actually book that type of room it's really good if you have teens that don't want to sleep in the same bed, or any people who don't want to sleep in the same bed. The downside on those bunk beds is they really block kind of your open feel. to the room itself. But they're really cute. Let's see, what do we want to say about those resorts? So they both have several restaurants, bars. The new bar outside at the Wilderness Lodge, I forget what it's called. It is awesome. It is really, really good. Their food is fantastic there.
Yeah.
It's fairly new, maybe a year old, something like that.
Yep. And that's one of the things that sets sort of the deluxe resorts apart from the moderates is multiple dining locations, right? So not just a quick service and a table service, but a quick service, often a fast casual, like in the case of Wilderness Lodge, multiple table service, room service, and not just pizza delivery. The moderates only have pizza delivery, but deluxe resorts have full room service. So these are all some of the things that you get as you move up, in terms of the categories.
Right.
I love the Wilderness Lodge.
I do too.
I love both of them. I think the Wilderness Lodge and Animal Kingdom Lodge have two of the best lobbies out of any Disney resort. Like they have that jaw dropping, like you walk in and you're like, oh, and you just like your mouth opens and you look up and it's beautiful, both of them.
Yeah. They are, I think, the biggest and most open of any of the lobbies, right?
Mm-hmm. Like, which is funny because they're the darkest feeling because they're low light and wood, which is by design. But yes, they're the most open by far.
Yeah. I mean, that fireplace at the Wilderness Lodge, I just love the fireplace, and then the multiple fireplaces, because like there's one big fireplace in the corner of the lobby, but if you walk to the back of the lobby and then turn around, there's like secret fireplaces as you go up the floors, and they've got the rocking chairs, and I love the brook that starts in the lobby and like flows out and becomes the waterfall into the pool, and I just love it.
I love that too.
Yeah, and Animal Kingdom Lodge is stunning.
That lobby is multiple layers. There's 3 different layers to that, like 3 different floors to that lobby. Yeah. And the same thing, there's hidden rooms off of the lobby where they do a lot of the activities. I like the fire pit there because it's kind of hidden in the corner. And then they have it's Victoria Falls Bar, which is like half a level down from the main lobby. So that's kind of hidden, and it's got this massive waterfall in it. And then if you walk to the far wall of the lobby, it just floor to ceiling windows of the savannah. I mean, you walk in and you're going to check in and there are giraffes right there, but then you walk down another level of that and then there's the rocking chairs right there. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's fantastic. The other thing that I find so fascinating, and this is such a Disney thing, right? So much research goes into the creation of these resorts, and for me, it's really what sets the deluxe resorts apart in a way that almost can't be described until you experience them for yourselves. The level of detail, especially in Animal Kingdom Lodge. Animal Kingdom Lodge has the largest collection of African artwork outside of Africa. Like the resort is full of incredible handcrafted creations and artwork and sculpture and painting and masks, and it is amazing. And down every single hallway and it's everywhere. And if you really take the time to look around, you can see some incredible things that you can't see anywhere else outside of the continent of Africa. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And much like Africa itself is, you think of desert a lot of times when you think of, or a lot of animals, there's the northeast side, which is a lot more Middle Eastern and lush and mountains and all that, and they have that represented there too. And because it's a whole different landscape and whole different animals there, so they have that represented too, and it's really, really beautiful.
Yeah. And I think it's so interesting because, of course, Africa is a continent, not a country.
Yeah.
Still hear people refer to, within Africa, there's, many different countries and many different cultures and many different types of storytelling. And I think the lodge does such a beautiful job of representing that. It's really interesting to me. So I still prefer Wilderness Lodge just a little bit, just because of the boat to the wilderness, to the Magic Kingdom, I think. But they're both.
If they would put in something like a boat or its own little monorail or something from Animal Kingdom Lodge to the
safari jeeps that go back and forth.
That'd be great. Yeah, it'd be great. But both of those resorts do have a very, very nice club level and some of the most affordable of the club level category and rooms. So
I
not
maintain
only are
that
the
the
rooms,
Animal Kingdom Lounge's club level is my favorite
it's so
club
good.
level out of all of
It's
them.
so good.
Fantastic. Because they get the food in the lounge from Boma and Jico.
Yeah.
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 It's really good food.
Yeah.
But
Keep going.
the value really is great because especially if you're already paying for Savannah View, which in my opinion you should if you're staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, go ahead and pay for Savannah View.
Please do not go to Animal
Yeah.
Kingdom Lodge
Yeah.
and book a standard view room. I understand, there's budgets and things, but pay at least the very little extra for the pool view. You will thank me because standard view rooms anywhere, but especially at this hotel, are not nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Heather, you wrote a blog post recently, right, that had like some of my photos of my standard
Yeah.
view room in them. It was like, if
Yeah.
anybody has questions about why it's important to book,
Yeah.
you can check out
but
those lovely photos of my view of the air conditioning unit. Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, if you are already going to be paying for the Savannah View room, the club level in general is really not that much more.
Yeah.
And especially at those resorts, I think that it is an easier swallow to pay the extra money for it.
Yeah. It's not quite as much of a jump as it is with some of the
Right.
other resorts. Okay. All right. So that's Animal Kingdom Lodge and Wilderness Lodge. Let's move on to the boardwalk area resorts. So that's going to be Yacht Club, Beach Club, and Boardwalk Inn. Of course, if you listen to this podcast,
the only
you know what our
proper
favorite
answer
is.
Before we get into those, I do want to say that with the deluxe resorts, they all have balconies and or patios. With the exception of maybe a handful of rooms at the Beach Club or the Polynesian, but even then, like at the Garden Wings at the Contemporary, like the window, the floor to ceiling window will open up. So if you're like me and you like a glass of wine in the evening or a cup of tea in the morning, these are the resorts you want to look at because you actually have the ability to open windows and get outside.
Get fresh air.
It's important to me. That's what I look for.
Yep. Agreed. All right. So let's start with the Yacht Club because I sometimes feel like the Yacht Club is like a little bit the redheaded stepchild of the Boardwalk Inn resorts.
It's not as nice as the Beach Club.
I would maintain that it is, well, I don't like the new room remodel.
I think the reason most people don't tend to stay at the Yacht Club is twofold. One, because the Beach Club is that much closer to Epcot, so it's a quicker walk, but also it is the convention resort. So this is the resort that has the convention center attached to it. So again, like we talked about last week with Coronado Springs, it caters to a more quote unquote, I don't want to say adult because there's tons of children that stay there, but it's a
not as many though. I would argue there's far less than the Beach Club. There is, even just going from lobby to lobby, like the lobby of the Yacht Club is so much quieter than the lobby of the Beach Club.
I think that also has to do with Cape May Cafe in the Beach Club, which is more open air. So it kind of like, it's the character meal and it's loud and all of that. But yes, it caters to a more upscale traveler. So somebody who's there for business. So the restaurants are geared more towards the higher end. Like that's where you're going to find the Yacht and Beach Club's signature restaurant is over on the Yacht Club side. Even, the lounge is not, one of the lounges is not tucked away in, around a hallway. It's right there in the lobby and it's got the beautiful dark colors and the fireplace. So it caters to a more adult crowd, I would say, which is why I think it's a little less popular.
Yeah.
And also the new rooms are bleh.
I'm not a fan of the new rooms, unfortunately. I'm slowly losing my gut check reaction to the lack of carpeting because
I still hate that.
I understand the need for it. Like I understand why they did it. I still think they could have tossed us the occasional throw rug or something so that I'm not just putting my bare feet on cold flooring or whatever. But the Yacht Club, one of the most important things to know about the Yacht Club is almost no bathtubs. They have gone to almost entirely showers. So if you are somebody who likes a bath, I have one of my friends, Jennifer, she takes a bath every single night. She has to have a bathtub in her room. Like it's a thing, so yacht club, not a good choice for her anymore. So, that's important to know.
Make sure you request that. And I feel like that's unfortunately a thing Disney's going to. They're doing the same thing when they redid the Grand Californian out here at Disneyland. 90% of the rooms are walk-in showers, which are beautiful, by the way. But if you need a tub, you have to request it.
Yeah. And you may not get it. It's request only. It's not a guarantee. So, all right. So let's jump over to the beach club.
Greatest hotel of all time. The end.
Ever.
I mean, it's no Aulani, but it's pretty great.
Walt Disney World. Best hotel at Walt
Disney World. And you know what? It's so hard for me to pinpoint why I think it's the best. It's not like it has amenities above and beyond any other deluxe resort. It's just, there's something about it. I think for me, it's being so close to Epcot, and of course the other hotels are there too, but I can walk out of my room and be at Epcot in 4.5 minutes. So that's amazing. And I've also really come to love the smell of the lobby.
Yes.
Favorite thing ever. I buy candles specifically because they smell like the beach club lobby.
Hashtag not sponsored if you're watching this. Not sponsored, but if you'd like to, we love your candles.
I'm going to tell you right now too, I found Bath & Body Works has a scent out for Christmas. Everybody go right now. It's called Frozen Lake. Smells exactly like the beach club. They also have the hand soaps.
Yeah.
I may have 7 of them in my house currently.
Possible. Yeah. For me, the beach club, I love the proximity to Epcot. That's a big part of it. It is modeled after sort of the beach resorts of New Jersey and the Northeast. So that's where I live and that's how I've grown up. And so the aura of it is sort of very comforting to me. The color palette is beautiful. It's just very peaceful. I love the room remodels. I love all the, it feels like home to me. So,
and also, let's be honest, the restaurants there are fantastic. They have Beaches and Cream, Hurricane Hannah's Pool Bar. I love. Oh my gosh, I even like the little counter service in the gift shop. That's my only complaint about this resort. Is they don't have. Yeah, we need a bigger counter service restaurant.
I would agree with that. However, part of what I love so much about the beach club is its proximity to the yacht club because it doubles everything, right? So you don't just have access to the restaurants at the beach club. It is a sister resort. They are physically connected. So it's very easy to get over to the Ale and Compass marketplace at the yacht club, which I think is better than the beach club marketplace. It's really good.
They have very good fancy coffees. They're amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. So you do have sort of 2 quick service, or 2 or more quick service things that are nice and close. So I almost think that the yacht club is kind of what helps me love the beach club so much, It's a little bit cheating.
Double the amenities for the price of one.
Exactly.
And I believe that these are the only resorts on Disney property that, while there are quiet pools, they share one common pool, and I think that's the only one because even like the villas that are connected to the other hotels, they have their own pool. So
Stormalong Bay is the community pool, so it is the main pool for the yacht club. It is also the main pool for the beach club. And Stormalong Bay, you can fight me all you want, it is the best pool on Walt Disney World property.
I don't think anybody will fight you on that. I think everybody says that. It's great.
I just like that it's not just a pool, it's a mini water park. So there's something for everyone. The little kids have their area, the teenagers have the slide or the lazy river. There's just tons of stuff. I like sinking sands, and nobody really knows that that's what that is unless you happen to step in a pocket where it's like a little mini quicksand and you just kind of fall into the pool. It's just cute little hidden things like that. So everybody can kind of find their nook.
Yep. All right, so let's jump over to the boardwalk. Now, we've all stayed at the boardwalk, right? Everybody stayed there?
Yes, okay. I love the boardwalk.
Yeah. I like the boardwalk. I like the rooms at the boardwalk almost as much as I like the rooms at the beach club. So if the beach club is unavailable for whatever, boardwalk is my second choice in resorts.
What I love about the boardwalk is, number one, it's themed after the Jersey Shore, which is where I grew up. And so it feels like home to me. But I like the hidden details that are in this resort, and I feel like they have more over at the boardwalk than they do at Yacht and Beach. So there are the nods to New Jersey history, where if you didn't grow up there, you're probably not going to know, but it's fun to see. But I also love like the Abracadabra bar. Now they have that attached, but upstairs, did you know that they have the Bellevue Lounge, which is in the morning they do a continental breakfast, but at night it's a cocktail lounge, and it looks like it's just a little living area, but they have, 1930s radio shows playing, and you can get books and board games off the shelf and sit down and play, and it's just the coziest little spot. And then they have the old penny pictures where you put the penny, you don't have to here, but like you crank the thing and you see like this old timey movie. I love that so much.
Yeah. And also the ice cream.
Ample Hills.
Ample Hills
Creamery. Place on earth.
Yes.
Ample Hills is phenomenal. I will say I don't think the boardwalk has as many dining options. I mean, it has more, but I feel like they're not as exciting as across the way, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I would agree.
Yeah.
So they have like I'm not super crazy about them. I love the Boardwalk Bakery, but there's always a crazy long line in the morning, so I just walk myself over to the Yacht Club at the Ale and Compass Lounge, and you get as good a breakfast, if not a little bit better. But that's the only thing that I would improve on, I think, at the Boardwalk would be the dining options.
Yeah.
Now,
also, did everybody know? Let's talk about the pool, because I love it, and I know that I am in the minority. I freaking love this pool. FYI, it has a name, people. That slide is called the Keister Coaster. And it makes me laugh every time. Like I cannot stop giggling. It's called the Keister Coaster, and I think it's brilliant. I love it.
I don't have a clown aversion, so it doesn't bother me. But many people do have a clown aversion.
I love clowns. I don't find them scary. I think they're fantastic. I think it's great. It's also, remember, themed after the Atlantic City Boardwalk, which unfortunately that roller coaster that they modeled it after is unfortunately no longer, because it got knocked off the pier and went into the Atlantic Ocean during Superstorm Sandy years back. But I thought they did such a great attention to detail and making you feel like you're at the boardwalk. Yeah. And I love it. And the little bar area there it's themed like a carousel, which I think is adorable, and it's called Leaping Horse Libations. I just love the play on words.
Yeah. It is very, and you're not going to know this, like Heather said, if you've never been to the Jersey Shore, if you never spent any time there, you're not going to really get. But so like the boardwalk gets a lot of flack for being just the tiniest bit creepy. Like it has these sort of funny, creepy, like the clown slide, or these little chairs that are in the lobby that are so bizarre. But that's very authentic to the boardwalk. The boardwalk has just the, if you think about back to the history of the boardwalk, it would be like, sideshows and things like that. So there is that aspect to it. And I think Disney actually did a really good job of maintaining that. It makes sense. Whether it appeals to you or it doesn't appeal to you, it makes sense.
It looks very much, again, it's themed after Atlantic City, which was the first boardwalk in the world. And what was that HBO show years ago? It was like Boardwalk Empire. That's it. Yeah. Like, don't watch it because it's violent and bad. But if you look at it just for the background, like that's what Disney was going for, that very Victorian era turn of the last century, and they did a fantastic job on it. It's great.
Well, I did like that show because it's the type of show that I like. And when I first started watching it, I was like, this looks just like Disney. I mean, that's the thought you get from it when you're watching it. It really does. So, and one thing I like about the boardwalk area, not even the hotel. I do love the hotel, but it's a good area for anyone, especially in that area at night. You can just go and really feel like that's a good nightlife spot. You don't have to go to Disney Springs or stay in a theme park. It's a good whole nightlife area. I like that one.
Yeah, we've got Jelly Rolls nightclub, and what's the other one?
Atlantic Dance Hall.
Yeah, so plus Abracadabra and just all of the
and then free entertainment. They have the Boardwalk Buskers, where there's magicians or acrobats or whatever.
We saw every 15 minutes. A hula hooper.
Oh, she was really good.
She was really good. And the magician we saw was good. He was a little cheesy, but good. Yeah. So
it's supposed to be a little cheesy. All right, so let's move on to the monorail resorts, and we'll start with the Contemporary, just because
why not?
Because why not? It was the original, right? So we'll start there. All right. Charlotte, you have had the most success.
Let me just roll my eyes at you because you've never had it when we're with you. Only
I
when
know.
you're by yourself.
Well, before I had ever stayed at the Contemporary, it was the last resort that I needed to stay at to complete staying in all of them. And so I booked a room at the Contemporary, and I just booked standard garden wing, standard view, the bottom tier of the rooms. And we walked in and were completely surprised that we were upgraded to the hospitality suite. So it was amazing, and it sleeps, I think, 8 or 9 people in total. And my brother and his girlfriend were living down there at the time, and they were like, well, we're just moving in for the weekend. And so they brought their stuff over and came and stayed with me for the weekend. So anyway, so that was that experience. It was fantastic. If you can stay in the hospitality suite, I would highly recommend it. It was amazing. So we were surprised because I was like, oh yeah, we get to go to the club level with this. So that was something else. But I had not stayed in the tower until we went in September. So while I had been to the concierge lounge, I had not stayed in the tower itself. So I feel like there are 2 different hotel experiences, whether you're in the garden wing and you're in the tower. And the 3 of us stayed in the garden wing one time and did not get upgraded. Sorry. But
we were counting on you.
We gave you a whole pep talk to go work your magic and everything.
The funny thing is, I didn't even do anything with that. Like I was going to go ask them at the desk if there were any tower rooms available. And then I was like, let's just check in. I'm tired. And we went straight to the room, and this is an amazing room. But I feel like there are 2 different experiences. There's the garden wing, and then there's the tower. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like, A side and B side or something like that, because the tower is the coup de grace and the garden wing is just adjacent. There's nothing at all wrong with the garden wing, but you are going to get a different experience than the tower itself. Yeah. The rooms in general are pretty much the same in the garden wing as they are in the tower.
Yes. And the rooms at the Contemporary and the Polynesian have the largest standard rooms on property. They were the first hotels that were built. And they just built hotel rooms bigger back then. So they are big. Like they easily sleep 5 people. And I mean, we've stayed there, on a few different occasions with 3 adults, and does not feel crowded at all. So
yeah. And the Contemporary has it's got besides being a tower, so it's many floors, it has a lot of levels to. There's the lobby where you check in on the first level. And then there's the convention center up on like 3. But besides that, then there's the Grand Canyon Concourse on the 4th level. So that's where you're going to find most of your restaurants and things like that. So it's a little bit different in that the lobby is in kind of 2 different places. And then you do have the Wave restaurant down on the 1st floor too.
Yeah.
And also the best restaurant in the entire world is all the way upstairs.
Way up on the top. Yeah. California Grill.
So it's a little bit more spread out in the one tower than you would maybe expect.
Yeah. All right. So here's my question for you guys. Contemporary gets a lot of flack for being the least Disney of all of the resorts. What say you to that?
I feel like Disney's going less Disney at all of their resorts now anyway. So what does it matter? I think, listen, it was created at a different time, right? It was made in the early 70s. And so at that time frame, Contemporary, the future, that was a big deal. We had only just landed on the moon maybe a year or so before. So I think it's great. It's also, let's not forget how it was made, right? They made the frame and then slid the rooms in. That's not a big deal anymore, but back then that was really cool. So I don't have a problem with it being less Disney. I mean, all you have to do is go down to the lobby and there's Chef Mickey and all,
Yeah. And I think for me, I get the Disney from it in, like, especially if you have a theme park view room, like that's where the Disney of it is. Yeah. Like you're looking at, you can see the fireworks, like we stayed there last month. We had a garden wing, garden view room. It was as far as you could possibly get out in the garden wing. And when we were walking there and it was late at night, I was tired, and, I was like, oh, until I got to the room and looked out the window, and there goes the electric water pageant right by my room. And then I was like, this is the best room ever.
I mean, right? What makes Disney, like a Disney hotel, quote unquote Disney? I don't.
Yeah.
And does it have to have Mickey plastered everywhere? Because none of the rooms really have that anymore. Exactly. Does it need to have hidden Mickeys? There's hidden Mickeys in the Contemporary. So it's again a different theme. It's themed after as much of the future as they can gather. Or I would say now it's more mid-century modern and nostalgia for what we thought of as the future.
Particularly contemporary anymore, but but also being able to walk to the Magic Kingdom, like that's pretty magical.
It's got a freaking monorail going right through the middle. How many other hotels in the world have that, people? Not many. Yeah. Right in the middle. I don't care how old I get or how antiquated that is magic. Like I'm still in awe of it. Like that's freaking cool. And remember being a child riding the monorail and you're like, oh, I'm going in the Contemporary. Like that's awesome.
Yeah. Even my teenager still thinks that's cool. Even he would look up when we were going back, like, there goes the silver monorail. Oh, there's a green monorail. Like,
It's cool.
It's very cool.
So I don't think it's got a theme of, oh, let me transport you to, a South Pacific island or, Victorian era England. It doesn't have that, but it certainly has a theme. I love it.
Yeah. All right, let's continue our little journey around the monorail loop and head over to the Polynesian.
I love the Polynesian. I really do.
It does. It feels like a different place, right? It's like super magical and mellow. And I think I love, you feel like you're in Hawaii, but 1970s Brady special.
Yeah, very
Hawaii,
Brady.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like very kitschy. Like I love it. I really love it.
The rooms here are huge, like Sarah was saying. One difference that I have seen, and I've stayed at the Polynesian a couple of times, and I have not seen, I know they've recently redid them, so I haven't seen one that's changed from this, but they have the one bathroom and not, Contemporary has this too.
Contemporary does too.
Yeah, and not like a sink, kind of outside like a lot of them do, and then the toilet and shower in another room. They have one large bathroom. So just keep that in mind if, you're going to be trying to get ready all together, either just become immodest or deal with it. That's, it works. Basically, it works better for some people than it would for others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. Yeah. I did not get, now we should say the Polynesian has the highest rate of guest satisfaction of any Disney resort, and it has the highest rate of repeat visitors. Once you stay at the Polynesian, it is very difficult in my experience to get people to stay anywhere else. Yeah. I cannot pry my clients out of that hotel for anything.
I love it.
I didn't get it at first. The Polynesia's sort of tiki aspect just wasn't a theme that particularly appealed to me. And so it was the last hotel for me. Like the Contemporary was for you, the Polynesian was the last hotel that I had to stay at to sort of complete my, I stayed at all of them quest. And then I got it. It's still not my favorite theme, but the location is fantastic because
cannot be beat.
One train monorail to the Magic Kingdom or the boat, and it's one train in the other direction over to Epcot because you can walk 5 minutes to the Ticket and Transportation Center. So between that and the size of the rooms and a really fun pool, when they redid the pool a few years ago, they did a fantastic job. Like it's just a really, it's not Stormalong Bay, but it's great in and of its own, merits.
And I really love it too because you feel in a different place. Even though you can see Cinderella's castle, you really do feel like you're on a South Pacific isle. They do the torch lighting at night. They really have that Polynesian culture in there. So you're walking around and these palm trees and all of the, the tropical plants are kind of blowing in the breeze, and you forget you're at Disney World, which I think also Animal Kingdom Lodge does really well. So that's why I love the Polynesian is I can still be at Disney, but I can feel like I'm somewhere else. Like you almost feel more relaxed at the Polynesian.
Yeah. You get, they have hula lessons in the lobby. This lady that works there, who's like so old and has been working there since it opened, I believe.
I think she's in her late 80s.
Yeah,
which
I think she's been working there since it opened.
adorable.
And she just comes out and she wears no shoes, which I think she's probably the only cast member allowed to not wear shoes because that's a big deal with them. And she teaches you how to hula in the lobby.
Yep.
And she's there all the time. She makes leis. She's got to have the world's best job. I mean,
yeah, she works very limited hours, I will say. She's not there all day, every day. She has very specific hours that she's there.
But if you see her, she's great. So, and she's really, interactive with the guests, but that's just the feel that you get at that resort. They just have it's really, really laid back, and I really love it a lot. I'm going to say this, it might be better than the Beach Club, in my opinion. So,
in your opinion, for you, it's better than the Beach Club for you. Yeah. That's allowed. I'll allow.
Okay.
We'll keep you on the podcast, I guess.
All right. But it's good since I'm the one who knows how to edit them. So
I could figure it out if I had to. All right. So that brings us. Go ahead. Oh, we lost Heather.
Hang on. You're breaking up. So
you're breaking up, Heather.
Oh, am I better now?
That is better.
Now you're better.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, go ahead. What were you saying? You were yelling.
I was gonna say that Beach Club's my favorite, but I don't always want to stay there for different times of year. I like different resorts. So if I'm going for 4th of July, hands down, always staying at Animal Kingdom because it gives you a different vibe. Food and Wine Festival, it's either the Beach Club or the Boardwalk. It really depends on what I'm going for that trip.
Yeah. Yep, I would agree with that. All right, so we're continuing on our little monorail tour, and we're coming to Disney's flagship resort, Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. And I have to say, for me, it's not better than the Beach Club, but I really like this resort. It might be right behind the Beach Club for me.
I really like it too.
It's close.
How do you not like it? It's so pretty, especially this time of year with the tree and the gingerbread house. I love it.
Yeah.
I think what I love about it is, and I know some people complain about it, but I like that it's got that more formal feel to it. You almost feel like, oh, I should put on a sundress to walk through the lobby. Not that anybody does or that you have to, but it has that feel to it. And I love there's always live music in the evenings, whether it's an orchestra or it's a piano. It feels of a different time when people got dressed to go to dinner, and I love that magical feeling to it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like if you have to walk from the theme park and you just happen to be walking through it and you're not dressed for the occasion, you don't feel like you don't belong there either.
No, it's not stuffy feeling. And I get this question all the time from clients. I mean, is it stuffy? Like, I don't want to have to feel like I have to dress up to go grab something from, the gift shop or something like that. And no, I don't think it is. But I do love when I see people that are dressed up, like a couple on their way to, Victoria and Albert's, or a bride. Nothing makes me happier than seeing a bride at the Grand. I mean, I love seeing a bride anywhere, but on the staircase, or I love to sit in that lobby. I'm a big lobby sitter and people watcher. It's one of my favorite things to do at the Disney resorts. And the Grand Floridian is the perfect place to do it because you can, it's so sweet. And I love to see people all dressed up, and I love the little girls in their princess dresses. And every once in a while you'll catch a little girl with her dad, dancing it's just it's the sweetest thing ever.
You do see people dancing in that lobby all the time. They'll just get up and dance to the music.
I love it so much when the orchestra comes on at night, it makes me so happy. Yeah.
I do want to mention that we have discussed before on this that we were upset when they took out Misner's Lounge and put in the Enchanted Rose bar. And I did have a chance to go in there when we were there in November, and it's beautiful in there. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it really belongs to the Grand Floridian, but it is a gorgeous space. It really is beautiful.
It's very pretty.
Yeah. And there was some outside seating and things like that. So I think it's a good use of space, but maybe not themed so much France when it's Victorian, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the rooms at the Grand Floridian are beautiful. And in fact, Heather, the room that you and I stayed in that time is probably one of my favorite rooms I've ever stayed in Walt
I
Disney
love
World
that.
because it was the dormered. Yeah, we were on the top
Yeah.
floor
it's so
of
nice.
I forget which building. But yeah, so we had these super high ceilings and this gorgeous chandelier that came down, and it was so pretty. And I've stayed there in a couple of the different buildings. And I would happily stay in any of the rooms. Outer building, well, I'd happily stay in the main building because those are all club level. But yeah, I love all of the buildings. I love the pools. I think the Mad Hatter water splash and play area for kids.
Really cute.
Like right up Heather's alley. Yeah. It's just it is a beautiful resort, and it's modeled after the Hotel del Coronado in La Jolla, California. It's not technically La Jolla, I guess it's Coronado, but which is one of my favorite hotels that I've ever stayed at ever in my life. So it's sort of, for me, it's very reminiscent because that was a great trip that I took to California as a kid with the family and stayed there. So yeah, just beautiful. And they're building a walkway. So in the not too distant future, you will also be able to walk to the Magic Kingdom from the Grand Floridian. So
from the Polynesian even.
Yeah, because it'll be not quite one big loop because you can't go from the Contemporary to the Polynesian because there's a big waterway in between, but you can go from all the way from the Polynesian to the Contemporary and back again. Yep. Yeah. Very cool.
Sarah and I and our friend Melissa recently walked from the Grand Floridian to the Polynesian, and I do this a lot just because I like it. But they were like, it is not far at all between these hotels.
You don't realize how close it is until you walk it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very close. And the last thing I want to say about Polynesian and Grand Floridian is if you get a theme park view room, that's fantastic, and you can most of the time see fireworks and things like that. But it's far. So you're not really going to be able to see, get all these great photos of Cinderella Castle or something like that because it's pretty far away. It's further than you think it is when you're just looking at it. Yeah. So if you want a really cool theme park view, that's where the Contemporary comes in. Yeah. But you will get great views of the fireworks and stuff if you stay in a theme park view room in any of those resorts. So. Yep.
All right. So we are now at an hour. If you're still listening, thank you. If you're still watching, God bless you. And we still have to cover the Saratoga Springs, Old Key West, and the Riviera. Now, we're not going to cover the Riviera because it literally just opened yesterday and nobody really knows anything about it. So let's just do a quick sort of overview of Old Key West and Saratoga Springs.
Okay. They are located in the Disney Springs area, which is fantastic for if you want to go to Disney Springs, you can just hop on a boat. And I love those boats going from those resorts to Disney Springs. They're really fun. And they are villas. So they have the studios, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, the elusive 3 bedrooms that you can't book. And they are, yeah. And the tree houses. Yeah. But those resorts are enormous. And the Old Key West villas are absolutely huge.
Massive.
Like we said with the Contemporary being, and those older resorts being first, this was the first villas resort, and those rooms are massive. Yeah. It's a good option for a big family for sure.
Yeah. I will say they are very spread out, almost similar to like the moderate resorts in the way that they're, spread out in Saratoga Springs in particular, especially if you're staying in a treehouse villa. I do think that having a car is very helpful because you can be pretty far from.
Saratoga Springs has a preferred location now, so that won't help for the treehouse villas, but you might want to consider that booking a preferred location if you're booking it. Yeah.
I think it's important to remember that these hotels were made as timeshare resorts. You don't have to own the Disney timeshare to stay there. Anybody can book a room there. But when Disney was designing these, it was meant to be a very different feel from their deluxe resorts. It's not a hotel. Remember, they used to be called home away from home resorts. So it's meant to feel like you're in a vacation home. So everything is spread out. They're both over the course of different golf courses. So it's meant to be like you have a condo on vacation at a beach somewhere, or,
Right.
And so you should have a car when you stay there. If not, I would book the preferred room. This way you can easily walk to everything.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
Saratoga Springs, you can also walk to Disney Springs, even though I get lost every time trying to find the path.
Yeah, I do. I do
Yeah.
too.
Mental block. No matter how many
Yeah.
times I do it, I can never
Yeah.
remember. But you can walk to Disney Springs fairly quickly from there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And it puts you, the walkway to Disney Springs could put you way down the end, down by like the Rainforest Cafe and sort of all of that. It's, you know, way down that way. So if you're trying to get to House of Blues, don't walk. Unless you're trying to get your steps in which case go for it, you know, but yeah, take the boat. All right. Well, I think that does it for Disney's Deluxe Resorts. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, guys, for participating. They are our favorite of the resorts, but let's be clear. If the choice is between staying home and staying at, you know, an all-star hotel, count me in for the all-stars. Like, I'm there. I'm good. It's, you know, I'm completely in for that. So that wraps up our series on the Disney resorts. Let us know what you think. You can join our Facebook group. Please come join our Facebook group. We're having so much fun over there. This is different than the Facebook page. So for those of you who are listening and saying, oh, I already liked your Facebook page. Facebook page is one thing. Facebook group is a different thing. So make sure that you have liked the Facebook page and joined the Facebook group because we're having all kinds of fun in there. You can tell us what you think. Tell us what your favorite resort is. Tell us why we're wrong. Tell us whatever you think. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can click on the comments below and let us know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm now officially a YouTuber. Like and subscribe. We will be back in 2020 and we want to hear from you. What do you guys want to hear from us next year? What do you want to see from us next year? So you can email us at info@disneyparkprincess.com. Visit our website at disneyparkprincess.com. Instagram at disparkprincess. Facebook, Diz Park Princess, and Pinterest. We have a lot going on over on Pinterest, and you can follow us on Pinterest, Pinterest/Disney Park Princess. So that's it.
We're
Happy holidays.
everywhere.
We're everywhere.
Happy holidays.
Happy
Happy New Year.
holidays.
Oh, Patreon.
Oh, Patreon extra. Thank you. I almost forgot our Patreon extra. How could I forget our Patreon supporters? I don't even know. So Patreon extra this week, Heather is going to be telling us all about her trip to see the Tiny Chef and the Tiny Chef's Gingerbread House. You are going to want to see this. You're going to want to stay tuned for this. So
I met Tiny Chef, guys.
Yeah, she actually met Tiny Chef. It's very exciting. So patreon.com/DizParkPrincess if you want to hear and or see our extra content for our supporters. And if you are already a supporter, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We are ending this year with actual money in our bank account. I mean, not like a lot of money, but but money. So we've paid all of our bills this year and our website and we can renew all the stuff we need to renew. So that is fantastic. And we thank you so much. So we will talk to you next year. Bye, guys.
Bye.